Hello! Welcome to part 2 of my first lesson with Marcus Shalley. We began today with chipping. We discussed the impact position, weight on the front foot, hands forward, ball somewhere in the center or possibly a little back of the sternum. Those were some of the major keys that we went through, and we're gonna basically take that and we're gonna build on that. One of my philosophies in the golf swing is that essentially we have one golf swing that we're going to use through our entire bag, from lob wedge all the way up to the driver, and it's just going to be from a smaller version to a larger version. Try to keep this as simple as we can. Working on chipping for the impact position is ultimately going to be the same impact position that we're going to use for pitching, for our full swing, with maybe a 7-iron off the turf. So this is really going to help Marcus with his full swing as well as his short game. Let's talk a little bit about the pre-swing before we ever hit any shots here. Let's start with the grip. So what I'm showing here is essentially the club is going to be in my fingers a little bit more than in the palms, and I like to have a neutral grip here when I'm pitching the golf ball. What this allows me to do is to sort of keep the face a little more quiet. I don't want a whole lot of face rotation necessarily in this swing. I'm going to hold on to the face a little bit on the way through impact. I don't want to have any of this action here, so we're going to continue to kind of maintain that Y position, only with a bigger swing. Now we're going to actually get the toe into an up position on the way back. So it's going to be toe up on the way back and toe up. So this is more we're talking about in swing now. So these are the club mechanics. We're going to go waist high, toe to the sky, I like to say, back to waist high, toe to the sky. And our weight is going to stay on our front foot throughout this swing. The purpose of the weight transfer, Marcus, is power, source of power, and ultimately we don't really need to tap into those sources of power for this pitch shot. We're really going to try to use our core for power. We're going to use shoulder rotation, a little lower body rotation. What I like to do to show players maybe what the motion is going to look like is a little bit like an underhand throw. Like if I was going to kind of throw it up there, that would be kind of how we were going to use. Basically, our motor is going to be our shoulders and our hips here, as opposed to some players. What they try to do when they're pitching the golf ball is they try to use their hands a lot, and they try to use that as a source of power. What that will ultimately do, just like what we talked about in chipping, this a little bit of review, is going to add loft to the face, and this is essentially a scooping or helping the ball up in the air motion. And so a player of Marcus's level right now, he's aware that you don't want to be a scooper of the golf ball, but even at his level, we're always trying to work to get a little bit better, even on those very, very basic concepts. Let me go ahead and hit a few shots. I'm going to start with a sand wedge, and I'm going to hit towards that red flag right there. So grip first. I'm going to take a look at my target here. My stance is going to be a little bit open to the target. So my feet are going to be pointing slightly left here. This is an uphill lie, so one of the things, Marcus, what we want to do on this uphill lie, really make sure you have weight on your front foot. It's even more important now.
Okay.
Maybe take the club back, like so. And notice how I'm holding my finishing position, Marcus. This is something I really want you to do. You did a great job with it on your chip shot, but let's really make sure we hold on to that finishing position while we're hitting here. So let's start with that. Let's go ahead and watch Marcus hit a few, and let's take a look at his motion. So we've given him a few things to work on now, and we're going to go ahead and give him a little assessment and see how he does with this. Marcus just said it was a little clunky. So Marcus, one thing I'm noticing in your motion here, and what you said after that first shot was a little clunky. It was a little clunky. I think he, one of his tendencies is to hit the ground before he hits the ball. Now I'm watching his weight. His weight's definitely on his front foot, and I think part of the reason why he hit the ground first was a little overactive in the hands, and that was definitely something I think we saw in the beginning with his chipping. So Marcus, you don't need so much of a descending angle of attack here. You are on an uphill lie. So, yep, just kind of swing level with the ground there. You're doing a good job with your weight. You should have no problem hitting the ball first. Okay, better contact there. Much better contact there. And I think, Marcus, anytime you're working on a shot like this, your first 4 or 5 swings, I wouldn't evaluate too much. You're really just trying to get a feel, get some rhythm going, and just really focus on those basics. So the situation here is essentially a pretty optimum situation where Marcus could hit a pitch shot, he could hit a chip shot. Right now he's elected to hit his, is that 58?
54.
He's got 54 again. Okay, so I would say with this 54, I want to see the ball come out a little lower, personally. If you can control that ball flight a little bit, keep those hands a little more forward and keep them dead. Okay. I'm liking that. A little bit behind it again. So what I'm going to do for Marcus here, I'm going to use the same training aid that really seemed to work well with chipping. Let's go ahead and put this on again. It goes just over the elbows, and what this does is it really allows you to stay connected with your triangle. Good connection in the triangle is a sign that all good ball strikers have. Every single one of them. Look at that triangle. That's really nice there, Marcus. Good job.
Thanks.
So, Marcus, let us into your mind a little bit. What are you thinking about as you're hitting these shots?
Right now, just trying to find a landing spot.
Good, I like it. That's exactly what I was hoping he might say. So he said he's trying to find a landing spot, and what we're talking about here is mental imagery. So I really want Marcus to imagine what this ball is going to do. Almost, Marcus, you can play it in reverse, from backwards from the hole. So imagine that ball starting at the hole, and imagine it working backwards. Where would it start to kind of roll? When do you actually have control of the roll of the golf ball? How many bounces is it going to take, and where's that first bounce going to land? Okay, let's imagine how high the ball goes in the air after that. That's very under control. I think the trajectory that he's using when he keeps the ball a little bit lower, it just, Marcus, it'll allow you to control the golf ball a little bit more and bring in less possibilities for error. So let's keep that nice low, I think, trajectory of the golf ball. I'm going to see if I can help him out with where do you want to land the ball? I would say probably no farther than maybe this area here.
Okay.
Great. It's great. He just made that one. I don't know if you could see that on video, but even when Marcus, when you mishit it, I really want you to remember, hey, you are such a good player that you don't have to be perfect. necessarily with everything that you're doing, because you're doing such a great job with the face, with your angle of attack, that you're not always necessarily going to be perfect, but you can still have perfect results. So just try to stay relaxed here. Let's continue that good mental imagery that you're doing. Nice job. So let's talk a little bit about some cause and effect relationships here. When we talk about cause and effect, we want to know kind of the nuts and bolts and sort of the hows, the whys. Ultimately, any kind of actual fundamental that we do for pre-swing, for in-swing, what we're trying to do is essentially create an effect. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, take a look at Marcus's grip. Notice it's in a very neutral position. The reason I like him in this position is because it allows him to hold on to the face and not over release that club face. So let's watch you hit a few shots like that and really hold on to the finish here, Marcus. Nice job. Nice job. Okay, now let's talk about some cause and effect with his head. Okay, watch Marcus. Go ahead and set up to it. Guys, watch Marcus's head. He's going to keep his head very still. The more still you keep your head here, Marcus, the better your impact is going to be. So don't let your head get behind the ball. Okay, make sure that head stays in that position right there, and you're going to have nice, solid contact on the center of the face. Good contact there. So there's a big correlation between where your head is and the head moving and your ability to actually put the ball in the very center of the face. So little small things like that working on are going to really help you to become a better ball striker. So just saying, hey, let's hit it in the center of the face. Okay, if you do nothing else right other than hit that in the center of the face, he's going to have a great result. Let's watch him hit a few, just working on keeping his head still and using the center of the club. Nice. Check your alignment out a little bit here. Okay, Brett, go ahead and come around this way. Now, Marcus, go ahead and take a little break. Marcus has been hitting a lot of shots here, so I'm going to have him take a little bit of a break. Now, let's talk a little bit on how this shot affects you on the golf course. So there's a few ways that you can sort of approach when we're hitting towards a flag like this. You have a lot of options. You could hit the ball really high in the air and try to have it stop right next to the hole. You could hit it a little bit lower and try to roll it up to the hole. More often than not, what you're going to find is the best players in the world are trying to keep the ball as low as they can to the ground when they have the opportunity to do that. In this situation, you kind of have options due to the fact that you have plenty of green to work with, and ultimately you do have to carry the ball on about 10 or 15 feet. So if a player wanted to hit this higher in the air, if that was their shot, I'd be okay with that. But let's say we're going to hit back to that back flag back there. There's another red flag back there. It's maybe like another 30, 40 feet. What you're going to want to do with this one is, I think, really roll it up there towards the hole. And so, Marcus, what I want you to do, we're going to get a different club. Maybe let's get like a pitching wedge or a 9-iron, something like that out. And we're gonna kind of change this scenario around a little bit. It's going to be more of a combination between a pitch and a chip. So for me, the definition of a chip is a ball that rolls farther than it flies in the air. And the definition of the pitch is the ball that flies farther in the air than what it rolls. So if you have something that's kind of a half and half, you're looking at sort of a blended sort of shot there. Marcus, go ahead and set up here. I'm going to clear the green off. And so let's start with some mental imagery. Where are you going to try to land this golf ball?
Just beyond that first hole there.
Okay. We'll say somewhere in this area. So what I've done there, Marcus, is given you a couple tees to shoot for. And what we'll do is after we've hit a few shots and we see how the ball is going to release, let's adjust that if we need to, based on our preferences here. Well done. I like how you held your finish there. I like how your stance is slightly open to the target. Marcus, for you, I think this is probably a better shot than the 54. So let's see the pre-shot routine here. And what we're going to try to do is transfer some of the knowledge that he's working on right now to his actual golf course. So let's envision ourselves, we're on the second hole here, and you need to give yourself an opportunity for maybe a 5 or 10 foot putt to knock it in inside of that, and you're doing an amazing job. One thing, let's talk about that shot. He said he pushed it a little bit, but if you take a look at the green, what he's done is he's missed it to the low side of the hole. So Marcus, I'm going to applaud you there, because on the golf course, that's really the side that I want you to miss to. I want you to hit a little bit to the right side of that hole if you're going to miss it. That way you have an uphill putt to finish here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to really watch this next shot here, and I'm going to try to see if I can move those tees and kind of dial that area in. Right now I've got it, Marcus, at about maybe 10 feet wide, and we're gonna narrow that up and get you dialed in here. Nice job there. I think that is a shot we take all day long, right there. So Marcus, you're doing a good job of a descending angle of attack. I really want you to work on not being so handsy. Okay, that's definitely one of the things. And I think as you and I continue to work through your full swing, I think we might see you might have a little bit of that in your full swing as well. Usually what we're going to find is that whenever you've got a compensation move here and you're chipping and pitching, it's going to be in your full swing as well. And those practice swings look fantastic. I like what you're doing there. Keep that head nice and still. Looked like you came up out of it a little bit on that one. I would say focus more on your contact here rather than watching the ball and making sure that it hits your intended target. Good. Good. That's fantastic. I like how you're holding your finish here. Yeah, again, there it's a little handsy, and Marcus, as a side note, when you're getting handsy like that, it's also weight on the back foot. Those two guys are going to go hand in hand for you. Okay, so hanging back on it also makes you handsy. So those two things kind of are brother and sister out here. So let's make sure our weight's on our front foot, our hands are leading. It's good result. You can't see on camera. That's good result to that shot there. Marcus is doing a great job here with his ball striking. He's keeping his triangle in his arms. I like that, Marcus. Weight on the front foot. Keep that head nice and still. Okay, go ahead and take a break here, Marcus. You're pretty much dialed in on the shot. I'll take the club here. Now, just a little review for what we're doing here, Marcus. It's ultimately the same stroke as our chip stroke, only we've made it a little bit longer here. Okay, we still haven't incorporated an actual weight transfer onto the right side and back through to the left, because that is a source of power. As we get the swing a little bit longer, we're going to work on that weight transfer in the future. However, with our short game, it's really not necessary to have a big weight transfer. Our swing center right here at our sternum is going to be pretty much where you want the ball. If not, you know, for your preference, it could be a little forward, it could be a little back on a shot like this. Feet inside the shoulders. And with your grip, I actually, just as a side note, Marcus, I might encourage you to choke down a little bit.
Okay.
One of your tendencies was to hit behind the ball a little bit, and I'd say maybe a quarter of an inch. I would experiment with that. I think that might help you dial it in a little bit. What you might find is that you don't hit it quite as far, so you might have to swing a little harder at it. It might give you a little more action, a little more check, a little more spin on your shots. As far as for a practice routine, I really want you to incorporate a few things. One of the things I want him to incorporate is a rubber band around his arms, and what that's going to do is just really make sure that his triangle is maintained. I'd like him to work on pre-shot routine in his practice so that it transfers knowledge of learning from the practice area to the golf course. And I want him using visual aids, alignment aids, whether it be alignment sticks or putting for like spot chipping, so that he chips to a spot, maybe a tee in the ground or a ball mark in the ground. But ultimately, I want him to challenge himself while he's out here, and not just to come out and just kind of rapid fire, hit some chips, and go to the golf course. So, Marcus, do you have any questions for me? Feel free to fire away. If there's anything that I said today that maybe it's a little confusing, or
no, nothing confusing. The one thing that did help was the head.
Was that okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Keeping the head still helped.
Yeah,
The contact.
I think it's amazing when you take a player of Marcus's ability, somebody as good as him, it's really easy to get caught up in like Marcus. We can talk about things that are really technical, but I think for you, I think we really just want to make it as simple as we can and allow your natural athleticism to come out. So I want your swing thoughts to be as simple as possible. I don't want to have too many things rattling around in your brain. I want you clear-headed out there, just chasing it around and knocking it in the hole like you do. Great job, my friend.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure to work with you today.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.